Housing stand part of the schedule. I call the honourable member Poto William. Kia ora, tēnā koe.
Yeah, kia ora. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this morning I spoke with my electorate office, and that's not unusual. You would argue, and no, it's not. But I spoke to my electorate office this morning about what's happening in housing, and particularly what's happening with emergency accommodation. And I do that from time to time. The team down there let me know what's going on. We keep records of people who come into the electorate office looking for assistance for housing, particularly emergency accommodation providers. So today they tell me, and I'm just going to quote from the email that they sent through to me today, that currently there is no emergency housing units available in Christchurch. And further, they go on to say the Salvation Army is full and has waiting lists. They can't move people on to permanent housing. And we all know that there's an issue with housing in the Canterbury region, including affordability and affordability of rents, where our rents have moved, over $100 a week in the last year. And we match that to census figures that came out from One News a few days ago, where they say that there are 700 more people living in temporary dwellings and overcrowded houses since the quakes. So the census data also goes on to tell us that there are 2,200 people in Christchurch living in temporary accommodation, up from 50% from 2006, 700 people living in mobile homes and makeshift shelters, and overcrowding has climbed, with more than 25,000 people living in crowded households. And we in Labour say that there is a better way, that the answer actually lies in building more homes. And to be fair, the Minister has done some work in this regard. The Christchurch Housing Accord with the Christchurch City Council will bring some affordable rentals back into the market. But when I questioned the Minister, that's right, way past time actually, Ruth Dyson, when I questioned the Minister at the estimates discussion, he couldn't tell me how many more affordable rentals the Accord would bring, nor could he tell me when they were likely to start construction. This Minister has really proved to be slow in many areas. His own figures show that of the 700 new Housing New Zealand homes he promised to build a year ago, he's only built 29. From the Ministry of Social Development, we know that, of course, people who are on priority waiting lists for Housing New Zealand homes, at the last count, was over 500. But, of course, we don't know what the new figures are because the Minister of Social Development hasn't been able to provide us with any figures since they changed the accessibility criteria through to Ministry of Social Development in mid-April. The Minister likes to quote consents as a measure of progress, and I would just like to share some information about that as well. And I have to say, to be fair, Christchurch is experiencing currently the highest number of consents ever. Well, what a surprise that would be. The average consents for the... I wonder why. I think they're supposed to be building houses, aren't they? The average consents for the period that they have been in government, though, is 1,647. Now, let's compare that to a historic average of 1,926, this is annually, and compare that to the 2012 averages over the years 1999 to 2008. This obviously goes to show that we are starting from some deficit even before the quakes hit. That's significant because we are starting from way back past left field, before we even consider how much we need to do to get us to pre-quake levels. So the Minister says that the Canterbury region has to put up with housing inaffordability for at least another 5 years. So there's 8.5 years that people in Canterbury will see the accommodation costs eat up more and more and more of their income. And there is a better way, as I've been saying.
I call the Honourable Member Alfred Naira. Kia ora. Me taki.
Me taki, Mr.